Hello YouTube, this is Bowtied Media, and today I have a review of Oliver Tree's Ugly is Beautiful. The man, the myth, the legend, the meme king himself, Oliver Tree, has finally released his album after 5 years of production. While it appeared that the pandemic was going to have a huge impact on the release date of this album, it actually ended up being pushed back not as far as we or he expected. Oliver Tree as a person is super intriguing and interesting to look at because he sort of plays this character throughout everything he does in his music, his interviews, all of his music, like music videos even. He all plays this individual character, and it's hard to even see him break it ever. And so there's a lot of debate over whether or not it's actually even a character, but presumably we assume that it is. With crazy outfits, hairstyles, oversized toys, objects, materials, and vehicles, his kind of personal style and who he is, I think, can only be described as a case study in social influence. A lot of what he does is over the top and quite memey, or the sense where he understands meme culture quite well and a subset of, I guess, this kind of alt-rock EDM culture, and he knows exactly where he wants his niche to be. But memes and personality tests aside, Oliver Tree has come out and kind of talked about his dissatisfaction with the label Atlanta, in which he recorded and, I guess, produced and released this album off of. He had said that he actually had this album done for 3 years, but Atlanta wasn't going to release the project because he didn't have enough of a following base and or views and or just followers in general. So after 3 years of him working on stuff and releasing kind of singles and I guess mini EPs from this album, Ugly is Beautiful has finally been released. But as sort of a side note, this would easily explain why songs like Alien Boy and Hurt have shown up again and again and again over the last 2.5-ish years on every single project and just everything he's released. But when it's all said and done, this album was finally released. Ugly is Beautiful is out. And Oliver Tree actually says this is going to be his first and last album. He was so upset with how the music industry, and I guess specifically Atlanta Records, treated him and his creative projects and his music that he just says he's done. He doesn't want to be a part of this industry anymore. Whether or not this is actually true, only time will tell. We don't know if this is kind of part of the act and part of a, social influence gig. We don't know what's happening exactly, but so far Oliver Tree has said, and seemed pretty genuine about it, that this is going to be his final album. So with all of that being said, let's actually hop into the album review, and I think I have something special for this video. That's more like it. Fun fact, I actually got this inspired by Oliver Tree's Instagram. So I love the design of this jazz solo cup, and I think it's great. I love the meme culture too. So this project is a great mix of a ton of different genres, but it's primarily the rock, kind of alt-rock or pop rock genres, and there's a lot of influence, especially from EDM in a few of the tracks here. I think stylistically, the track Cash Machine is your standard Oliver Tree track. If someone were to ask me, play a song of Oliver Tree's that is the most like him, or just the most average, I guess, song of his in terms of stylistic production, I would say Cash Machine 100%. This track is almost like a rock power ballad with a 2020 modern twist to it, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And while I'm not a huge fan of Oliver Tree's vocal performance and delivery for the most part, that kind of style of his fits perfectly with a song like this. The entire project has that signature vocal style from Oliver Tree, and I think it takes some time getting into, especially if you haven't listened to anything before from Oliver Tree. It's this whiny, monotone, yelly voice that is a pain to get into sometimes, and Let Me Down is easily the worst offender of this specific style. The entire track sounds like he is absolutely just yelling at you and life, and you can see that in his music video of the same song, where he's just over-exaggerating his mouth movements, and it's more of a meme. But the song is actually about how the pandemic had to push back his album release, and I guess Atlanta too, and his struggles with that. His range is poor, and I think that kind of is a testament to Oliver Tree's actual style, and fans of his music aren't going there for the range, and actually some people really like that it stays pretty leveled. So it's really just a personal preference, and I think it works half the times for me, and the other half it just doesn't. Okay guys, bear with me here. I think Oliver Tree's vocal performances, to me, sounds like a pitched up, more modern version of Kurt Cobain's voice. Not in terms of quality, but terms of a stylistic performance. And if you think I am absolutely crazy by saying this, go listen to Cash Machine and think of it in the lens of thinking of Kurt Cobain's tracks and what he sounds like, and think about how it is in my opinion, quite similar to Oliver Tree's if you just pitched it up and made it a little bit more yelly, I guess. I promise there's a little bit of comparison there. If you think I'm crazy, go listen to it and then come back. Give me your real honest opinions, but I just think, yeah, it's something I noticed. Alien Boy is easily the most memed and popular song of Oliver Tree's entire discography, and I think it does a good job encompassing all that he is in his music, persona, and struggles with the label. The lyrics are pretty meh, they're dry and cut, and they're pretty normal, but I mean, that's Oliver Tree's style, and you're not going to come here for the strong lyrical content. The entire album actually centers on this idea of alien boy and feeling like an outsider and trying to embrace what makes you unique and special. And you can definitely see that through all of his meme stuff that he does, the funky things he wears, the bathtub of hot Cheetos, driving monster trucks colored in this thing, and yeah, you can just see it with what he does. It's a pretty surface level narrative, but when it's paired with this alt-rock meme style of music, it actually offers a very unique dichotomy that I think works quite well, actually. It's almost like this surface level narrative is hidden throughout the tracks, even though it's quite prevalent, and it makes it a little bit more engaging, I would say. As a lover of EDM music, 1993 is easily my favorite track from the project. It's pretty much the only song on the LP where the drop/chorus is just instrumentals, where Oliver Tree pulls back from his vocal performance and lets the production shine bright. This song feels like a favorite club track where the first 2/3 have this dark, gritty, grungy feel to it that is pretty deep and fun to, I guess, bounce to. And then after a verse by Little Ricky ZR3, it kind of flips and goes into this trap track. It's the most unique from the project easily, and it is my favorite. And while I think 1993 is my favorite track from the project, I'm Gone, the final track of the album, is I would say the most standout track of anything here. The song serves two major purposes other than just being a song, where it wants to convey his struggles with the label and his dissatisfaction with the music industry, and a final goodbye, if this truly is a final goodbye, hence the title, I'm Gone. Claiming that he's done with music and moving on to be a movie director, he wants to be behind the scenes instead of in front of the camera. This is the final piece of the Oliver Tree narrative, presumably. The song sounds like a perfect movie ender, where it's the very, very last 30 seconds of the movie, this song starts to play, and then as soon as the drop comes, it cuts to black, it cuts to the credits, it does all the fun stuff. It's almost like a feel-good kind of thing. Listen to it in that lens, and you will totally get what I'm feeling. Stylistically, this is more different than the other alt-rock kind of tracks on the album, where most of it comprises of that. It's just a slightly different, a little more lighter, and I think a little less of his kind of classic vocal performance. It's a slightly different take on the alt-rock style that plagues this entire album, and I really enjoy it. This is one of the tracks where I think his vocal performance really stands out and adds a lot to the track rather than removing anything. Oliver Tree really knows his niche with his style, and I think this is a pretty solid project for his first and probably last. It's something I think he's quite proud of and can be quite proud of. And while it's not directly my style of music and my personal preferences, I really enjoyed a lot of the tracks and found myself really jamming to most of the project. It did feel a little derivative at times, but I mean, I enjoyed it, and I think a lot of people will too. Oliver Tree's Ugly is Beautiful is going to get a 7. But thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Bowtied Media. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like if you liked. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And let me know what other albums you want me to review. Stuff that's coming out in the future or something that's come out back since 2020. But I've been Bowtied Media. I will see you guys in another video.